What is going on YouTube? Welcome back to another video on the channel, and in today's video we have another episode of the weekend recap. Pretty slow weekend for sport all around. We had a couple international games, World Cup qualifiers, so we'll be touching on those that ended end of last week over the weekend. There was also a UFC fight night, Derrick Branson versus Darren. We'll be touching on the main card of that fight. There were a couple interesting fights, things moving forward that I want to talk about. Then we also had the Formula One at Zandvoort, first time racing at the new track. We'll talk about the race, talk about the track itself. So as always, a thumbs up if you enjoyed, a thumbs down if you didn't, and I will catch you all in the next one. Peace. Okay, so we're quickly going to touch on the international football fixtures that happened end of last week and over the weekend. So England last week, Thursday, played Hungary. As you can see from the score, they bashed them 4-0. 65% possession, dominating in passes, dominating in shots. I mean, it was a pretty boring first half. I'm pretty sure it was 0-0. Yeah, it was 0-0. As you can see from the scoreboard, there was 0-0 in the first half, and then they just scored 4 goals in the second half. So pretty exciting. Couple saves from Gulashki, Hungary's goalkeeper, that I was like, I thought you'd make that. You're like a A-grade goalkeeper, international goalkeeper. So I definitely thought he would have saved those. But yeah, England off to a winning start in their World Cup qualifiers. Next, we have the match that took place yesterday, England versus Andorra. Yeah, Andorra. As you can see from the stats there, Andorra had 11% possession, 1 shot, 1 on target, 107 passes at a 31% pass accuracy. I don't mean to sound mean if anyone ever watches this and they live in Andorra. I don't really know how they can qualify for international football. They got absolutely world-starred. England just absolutely ran right. Definitely could have scored more goals from England's perspective. So it'll be interesting to see how the rest of their group plays out. Here, their group here, they are top of the group. 15 points from an available 15, so that's very exciting. Then Poland, Albania, Hungary, Andorra, and San Marino. No wonder they've won all their games. The next team we will be looking at will be Portugal. So last week, Wednesday, Portugal played against the Republic of Ireland, beat them 2-1, 2 late goals from Cristiano Ronaldo. Let's see here. 89th minute and then the 96th minute. So, 2 late saving grace goals from Ronaldo. As you can see in the stats, they had 29 shots. Portugal definitely needs to start becoming a bit more clinical up front. But, as always, when you have the big man Ronaldo in your team, he can do nothing all game, and then just like that, he can spark the magic. So very exciting. This was Ronaldo's first game as a Manchester United player, first game since he's been signed as a Manchester United player. He also got a yellow card in this game for taking his shirt off for celebrating, so he got sent home early, which is very exciting because he's already quarantining in Manchester, so hopefully we see him for the Newcastle game. Portugal's final match of the weekend was against Qatar. They beat them 3-1. Another dominant performance from Portugal. 22 shots, only scoring 3 goals. They do need to try work on that. But a 93% pass accuracy, you're probably going to be running the other team ragged. From the things here, it looks like Qatar had 2 red cards. So I don't remember when they got their second red card. I remember their first red card. And then, the second one was when Bruno got that penalty, yes. And obviously Bruno scored the penalty. So in the previous game, I didn't touch on that. Ronaldo did miss a penalty in the first half. I think it was the first half. So it'll be an interesting dynamic to see how that dynamic plays out at Manchester United, whether Ronaldo is on the penalties or whether it is Bruno. In my personal opinion, I'd keep Bruno on the penalties. That's what he does. He scores penalties. Proved it again here, scores penalties. So it'll be interesting to see how that dynamic plays out. But that's all for Portugal. The next game we will look at will be Sweden versus Spain. The first, maybe you could say, upset of this round of World Cup qualifiers. Sweden won 2-1 against Spain. Carlos Soler scored in the 4th minute, and then Alexander Isaac in the 5th minute, and then they scored in the 57th minute. So, interesting. Again, 25% possession. Spain with 75% possession only created 12 chances. So, it's interesting to see that Spanish style of football. 90% pass accuracy, 700 passes, but you only created 12 chances, 4 on target. It's that Spanish style, of that Barcelona style, where they just keep possession, keep the passes. But if it's not translating into wins, maybe it's time to start playing a bit of a different style of football. Interesting. Interesting. Who else is in the group here? Sweden, Kosovo, Greece, and Georgia. I mean, yeah, Spain almost guaranteed to go. I mean, Sweden, three wins out of 3 games, so that's very interesting for Sweden. On to Spain's next game. Okay, Spain's game, was it yesterday? Spain's game yesterday, they played against Georgia. They beat them 4-0. Once again, dominated possession, 75% possession. Still, again, only 14 shots to the 12 they made last time from, out of a possible 200% possession in 2 games. They've had 150% and made, what's that, 26 chances. Like, it's a lot of chances, but I mean, when you're dominating the ball the way Spain does, they should definitely be trying to. I mean, they made 819 passes at a 92% clip. I mean, are you going to be running them ragged? Once again, Ferran Torres getting involved. He's been quite the vibey player these past couple games. But yeah, I mean, Georgia, they even lost in this group over here. They losing to Greece and Kosovo. So I mean, did they really stand a chance? Probably not. So it'll be interesting to see how the rest of the World Cup qualifiers play out. Okay, the next team we will be looking at will be France. France, during their midweek game on Wednesday, played against Bosnia and Herzegovina. They drew 1-1. Interesting. Dzeko scored in the 36th, and then Griezmann equalized in the 39th. Jules Koundé did get a red card on the 51st minute. I don't really remember what happened with his red card, but I'm pretty sure it was a red card. But I mean, pretty more even game, 55 to the 45. Definitely thought they'd do a bit better in the possession. I mean, I'm sure that red card didn't help, but once again, lots of shots, not many on target. You know what I mean? It's been a trend we've seen over these stats recently. Teams are having a lot of shots, but they're just not. Teams are not being viciously clinical, putting away these goals. So it'll be interesting to see how the rest of these international fixtures play out. If that starts to bite some teams in the back, you know what I mean? Like there's 2 drop points here to Bosnia, but I mean, if we go look at the table, yeah, I mean, France are still, I mean, it's France, Finland, Ukraine, Bosnia, and Kazakhstan. So, I mean, France are going through that very, very easily. So let's look at France's next game. The next game we have is France versus the Ukraine. This happened on Saturday. The score was 1-1. As you can see in the top right corner there, very excited with the fact that Tony Marshall, he scored a goal. Very exciting. That's very promising signs if you're a Manchester United fan, which I am. I'd love to have Tony back in form. I mean, it'll make even more of a headache for Oli now with Ronaldo, Cavani, Greenwood. Now, what's his name? Tony Marshall wants to come get involved. Rashford's going to be back soon. So very interesting. Once again, France, 16 shots, only 5 on target. That's just not... We need to start seeing more clinical performances from international strikers, midfield, all of that, taking these shots. They need to start converting them into goals. I mean, 16 shots and you only scored 1 goal. It's tough. I understand it's international football, even if it is against Ukraine, but we need to start doing better than that internationally. Decent performance from the Ukraine, nice pass accuracy on not too many passes, which is quite important. It's not like Armenia, who had 30-something% pass accuracy, and it's like, what? No, that's terrible. Who was it? Andorra. Sorry, it was Andorra. Sorry, I apologize, Armenia. But yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see. I don't think France, as we just looked at here, draw, win, draw. So it'll be interesting to see how France play out. I mean, they've got a very easy group, and it's France. They've got so many players. But I mean, a bit of a disappointing Euros from France. So it'll be interesting to see how they play out through the rest of these World Cup qualifiers into the Qatar World Cup. Okay, the next team we'll be looking at will be Belgium. On Thursday, Belgium played Estonia. Interesting to see if you look at the thing here, Matthias Kuyt. I apologize, Matthias. He scored in the 2nd minute to put Belgium behind. Very interesting. Belgium then came and scored 5 before they scored their next goal. But once again, 25 shots, only 9 on target. I understand from 25 shots you scored 5 goals. It's a 20% clip. So yeah, interesting. Once again, absolutely dominating passes and possession from the more established, bigger side, as you would expect. Romelu Lukaku getting 2 goals, which is very exciting if you're a Chelsea fan, as well if you're just a Premier League football fan. It'll be exciting to see Big Rom back in the Prem, in form, scoring goals. Always exciting to see a big goal scorer scoring goals. Okay, then yesterday, Belgium played the Czech Republic. They won 3-0. Lukaku, Hazard, and Alex Salemakers. Once again, I apologize, Alexis. Yeah, I mean, a bit of a closer game, this one. If you're the Czech Republic, you had 12 shots and you didn't score a goal, It's tough, I'm being a bit pedantic about this, but, as an international football player, if you're a striker or what, that's what you do. That's what you get paid to do, is score goals, So interesting, decent pass accuracy, a lot of fouls, so it was obviously quite a rough game. I can imagine the Belgian players were a bit dancey. So let's look at Belgium's group. Belgium's group has Belgium, Czech Republic, Wales, Belarus, and Estonia. I mean, Estonia just getting absolutely dribbed. Likewise with Belarus. I wonder who Belarus beat. And then Wales, we're not going to touch on it, but Gareth Bale did score a hat-trick in Wales's last game. I think it was last night. Gareth Bale hat-trick to win them the game. So, I mean, it's not all about golf for Gareth Bale. Just kidding. It's 100% all about golf. But yeah, it's always nice to see Gareth Bale scoring goals again. Interesting. Okay, the next team we will be looking at will be Italy. Italy played Bulgaria on Thursday to a 1-1 draw. Super disappointing result from Italy, as you'll see in their next result as well. Just another very disappointing performance from the European champions. I mean, after winning the Euros, it wasn't in this game, it was in the next game. What's his name, Mr. Penalty, Jorginho. I mean, that's something you wouldn't... as you can see from behind me here, there's an Italian flag. My name is Fabio. So, I do got that lovely Italian heritage about me. Once again, Italy, 27 shots to score 1 goal. That's very tough. And it was Chiesa, Thank goodness for Chiesa. Dominating the passes, dominating the possession, dominating all of that, and just not being able to get the final goal. I didn't actually watch this game. As I can see from here, quite glad I didn't. It looks like Italy were just dominating the ball, but just couldn't score. 27 shots, no goals. Yeah, Italy are in very desperate need of a proper goal-scoring striker. Like, if you think about all the best strikers in the moment in the Serie A or from the previous season, Lautaro, Christie, Ciro, I guess, but I don't know what it is for Ciro when Ciro plays for Italy. He's just shit. Lukaku last season. Who else? What's that other big Italian oak's name? Bellotti, So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how Italy's forward game, because I feel like Italy's defense are rock solid. They still got Chiellini just dominating, just being the GOAT. They got Donnarumma in goals. They've got that nice young midfield with Barella and Verratti. Verratti's not that young, but you know what I mean. He'll help the youngsters coming up with Locatelli and all of that. So I think if they can just find that just... If Ciro can maybe transform some of that goal-scoring form in the Serie A to the national side, it'll be very interesting to see how Italy will perform. But on to Italy's next game. Okay, so yesterday Italy and Switzerland played to a 0-0 draw. I did see a couple of highlights. It was on in the background while I was watching something else at the end of last night. Quite exciting. Couple saves I watched from... what's his name? Jan Sommer, Switzerland's goalkeeper. But here and there, I'm pretty sure Jorginho missed a penalty in this game, which is very unlike Jorginho. He's almost, you see, he's like Bruno as well. You see him walk up to the penalty spot, and you're like, okay, let's just add 1 to the goal tally. It was just a terrible penalty from Jorginho. He didn't make the keeper do just like almost hit it down the middle for a soft save for the keeper. 10 shots from Italy, 7 on target, no goals. That's pretty disappointing if you're looking at it like that. 16 fouls out of Switzerland. So I mean, they were obviously bit of a rough game. I did see a little clip where Chiesa, I just looked over for the highlights, and Chiesa made the soak and then they fouled him. Chiesa is very, very exciting. I'm very excited with Federico Chiesa for the Italian national side, Le Azzurri. Let's look at Le Azzurri's group. So it's Italy, Switzerland, Bulgaria, Northern Ireland, and Lithuania. Lithuania just getting dribbed, just 1-0, just goals for 1, goals against 8. That's quite tough. So yeah, Switzerland and Italy should definitely get out of this group. I mean, I don't see Bulgaria pulling a massive charge, especially because they've already played 5 games. And I couldn't name you a single player barring George Best that plays for Northern Ireland. So yeah, on to the next lot of fixtures. Okay, in the penultimate team we will be looking at will be Germany. Germany played Liechtenstein to a 2-0 victory for Germany. I mean, as you can see from the stats here, Liechtenstein just not a top team. 14% possession, 2 shots, 0 on target. Sounds like my pro clubs games from last night. We were playing like Liechtenstein. You know, I mean, 86% possession, you know, at an 89% pass accuracy on 750 passes, you know, 30 shots, but only 7 on target. I feel like that's definitely been the theme of today's video is just, you know, wasted shots, you know, 30 shots, but 7 on target. So that means 23 of your shots weren't on target. What are you a professional football player for, man? You know, I can understand if you're not scoring, like in the Italy game where they had 10 shots, 7 on target, but they didn't score. You know, 10 shots, 7 on target. That's 70% of your shots on target. This is not 70% of your shots on target. You know what I mean? This is terrible. 77 shots on target. But I mean, they did score. Who was it? Timo Werner and Leroy Sané. You know, Germany have a lot of young talent coming up. In the midfield, in the defense, Germany had 15 corners. Oh my goodness. Germany committed more fouls. Yeah. Oh, all in all, Liechtenstein just got absolutely smashed. Yeah, on to Germany's next game. Okay, and if we thought the Liechtenstein game was bad, Germany beat Armenia 6-0. Ran absolutely riot. 2 for Gnabry, 1 for Royce, Werner, Jonas Hoffmann. Absolutely no idea. And then Karim the Dream Adeyemi. So that's very exciting. If you follow Danny Aarons, you'll understand why I called him Karim the Dream Adeyemi. Exciting to see. I mean, yeah, I mean, it's Armenia. I mean, the only Armenian footballer I could name is, what's his name? Wait, let's go to lineups here quick. Was he started? Yeah, Heinrich Mkhitaryan. Oh, wow. So these are the Yans. There's every single person. Look at this guy. Look at Angulo and the goalkeeper. Otherwise, I was going to say everyone's name ends in Yan for Armenia. Interesting. Yeah, but I mean, they got absolutely dribbed. 23 shots, you know, 12 on target. So, I mean, a better clip here, kind of. I mean, it's just over 50%, but they scored 6 goals. So, I mean, 800 passes, absolutely dominated. Let's see the rest of Germany's group. Germany, Armenia, Romania, North Macedonia, Iceland, Liechtenstein. I mean, no surprises that Liechtenstein just have zero points, just lost all their games at a minus 13 goal difference. Armenia in second, interesting, but I mean, against Romania, North Macedonia, and Ireland, I mean, I'd probably pick Armenia just because they have Heinrich Mkhitaryan. I don't think I could name you a Romanian footballer off the top of my head, nor a North Macedonia. That's a lie. It doesn't Alioski. I said that because I've watched them play before, and I was like, oh, I know Alioski. He plays in the Premier League. Plays for Leeds. Then Iceland. Ooh, Iceland. What happened to Iceland? Weren't Iceland, was it the last World Cup or the previous Euros that Iceland did well? And they're just getting absolutely dribbed here. So onto the last team we'll be looking at. Okay, and the final team's fixtures we will be looking at for the World Cup qualifiers during the last week was on Wednesday. The Netherlands played to a 1-1 draw with Norway. Once again, 17 shots, only 6 on target for the Netherlands. I mean, dominating the possession, the passes. I mean, that's what you would expect. No offense to Norway, but I mean, they've got a couple stars here and there, but I don't feel like they have the overall dominating team. I mean, as you can see, Erling Haaland scored a goal. I mean, are you surprised by that? I'm not. He's a monster. He just scores for fun. It's going to be very exciting to see next season when his release clause kicks in and he moves to a big club, because 100% he will, because his release clause is only 70 million. Excuse me, Arsenal paid 50 million for Ben White. Yeah, Erling Haaland will definitely be moving to a top club. So it'll be interesting to see how he does there. With the Netherlands, a 1-1 draw with Norway. I didn't actually watch the game. Pretty disappointing if you're a Netherlands fan, I mean. Dominating possession, passes, you know, all of that, shots, everything, to just come away with only 1 goal, and it was Davy Klaassen. Interesting. I didn't really watch the game. I probably should watch the highlights before I talk about these, so that I'm not just, you know, chatting shit out of my ass. But I mean, on to the Netherlands' next game. Okay, and the final international fixture we will be looking at was the Netherlands versus Montenegro. The Netherlands won 4-0. Memphis with a brace, Gini Wijnaldum and Cody Gakpo. As we learned in the previous weekend recap, that Gakpo's first name is Cody. So that's very exciting. I mean, 28 shots, 12 on target. You know, it's been the theme of today, shoot more accurately. But yeah, I mean, you know, Montenegro, I couldn't name you a single Montenegro player. I mean, Memphis is looking very heaty, spicy at the moment. Dancing, you know, I watched a couple chances Memphis had. I'm pretty sure I had that game on in the background last night. Was it last night? On Saturday, sorry, apologies. Yeah, and just Netherlands looked like they were running rampant. I mean, as you could expect. Let's look at their group. So this is wow, Turkey on top. Was not expecting that. So Turkey, Netherlands, Norway. Wow, Netherlands and Norway with the same amounts of points here. Montenegro, Latvia, and then Gibraltar. I didn't know that they added the guy from Apex Legends to the international fixtures. I'm just kidding. But shame. I mean, Gibraltar conceded 20, scored 2, just no points, just getting dribbed by everyone, even like Latvia and stuff. So I mean, that's super tough to be a Gibraltar fan, even in Apex Legends. But yeah, that'll be it for the international fixtures. I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of the international break because it means I don't get to see Manchester United play, and then even more so this time because now it means I have to extend the waiting period to watch Cristiano Ronaldo play. So I mean, very disappointed by the international fixtures, but I mean, there were some vibey fixtures, teams scoring goals, players getting a run out, some players getting some well-needed rest. Someone like Scott McTominay, it's benefited him very well because instead of missing, 2 weeks of the Premier League football, he just didn't go with Scotland to the thing and got 2 weeks of recovery. So the next thing we'll be talking about will be the UFC. Okay, so over the weekend, a UFC Fight Night Brunson versus Till took place. We'll be looking at the fights that took place on the main card. Paddy the Baddie Pimblett. That Pimblett, that's how you pronounce his surname, made his UFC debut. Very exciting fighter. I mean, got a very exciting fighting style. Coming forward, he was throwing nice kicks, switch kicks, kicks to the body, throwing hands, I mean, the guy he fought, Luigi Ramani, yeah, whatever. Had a couple good punches, did hit Paddy with a bit of a banger, but like Paddy said afterwards, he's like, us Scousers don't get knocked out by that, man. So yeah, very exciting. He looks like he can talk the talk. He looks like he's got some skills. So be interesting to see what happens when he fights someone with a number next to their name eventually in the UFC. Because as I've learned over time, there's levels to this shit. You know what I mean? Top 10, you're a good fighter, but if you're in the top 3, you're the elite of the elite. So interesting to see where Paddy the Baddie ends up falling in. But I mean, if he can fight half as good as he can talk, the UFC's in for a little bit of a show. Okay, the next fight on the card was Khalil Roundtree Jr. versus Modestas Bakuskas. Good fight. I mean, Khalil started very aggressive early, throwing bombs. I mean, tired out a little bit end of the first round, and then just started getting into his groove. Modestas did land a couple shots, doing decent, and then Khalil Roundtree stopped him with a knee stomp. So, with that oblique kick. So, like, you stand sideways and the kick comes out to the side and he hit him to the knee, tweaked his knee, smashed his knee, TKO stoppage. I mean, I've seen some people on the internet, oh, let's ban that kick. I mean, what? I can kick you in the head, but I can't kick your knee. Hold on a second. Your brain's in your head, man. What are you talking about? So, yeah, I don't understand that. Ban the technique. I mean, what are we talking about here? It's not like it's the no can defend technique. You know what I mean? Every technique has a defense. So just, try not to get... And he stomped him like mid-thigh and his leg gave out. Like, what's the difference between if someone hits a leg kick properly and the person's knee gives out? So I don't understand that. Good performance from Khalil Roundtree Jr. He's one of those that I've been supporting for a while. I hope he does, get it right because he's got a very exciting fighting style. He's a big boy, hits hard. So let's see what happens with the rest of his career. Okay, the next fight on the card was Alex Morona versus Davad Zawada. Zawada. Yeah, I mean, I don't know much about either fighter. I think Alex Morona has been on a bit of a tear fighting a couple of, I don't want to say up-and-comers, but the staples in the UFC. I was watching it without commentary, so I didn't really get to hear, sometimes you don't know much about a fighter, but then the commentators tell you more. I didn't get that. A pretty dominant performance from Alex Morona. Don't have much to say about this fight. Okay, then in the co-main event, we had Tom Aspanal versus Sergey Spivak. Tom Aspanal is a very, very exciting fighter to watch. I mean, he's his previous fight, almost the exact same combination. He hits the knee and then just bang, bang, and then knocks you out. I mean, he literally didn't get hit. Sergey Spivak landed 0 of 11 strikes. I mean, it's the same as that team we saw earlier. Who was it? Andorra, who just had 2 shots, 0 on target. And it's like, he just got shit on. So yeah, it'll be very interesting to see where Tom Aspanal goes. He's a heavyweight. He's got some footwork. That heavyweight division is very unforgiving. There's a lot of old men up there that are, nasty old men. Tom Aspinall looks like a very exciting fighter from England. You know, they love finding fighters from England because they can make them fight in England, put on big shows in England. So it'll be interesting to see where he goes from here. Okay, and then in the main event of the evening, we had Derrick Branson versus Darren Till at middleweight. As you can see from the stats there, I mean, Derrick Branson just absolutely ran through Darren Till. I mean, if you've ever been to a jiu-jitsu gym or a place where people are doing some form of martial arts and there's someone who knows what they're doing and there's someone who doesn't know what they're doing, that's what this fight looked like. I mean, as Derrick Branson took him down, I mean, it genuinely looked like Till didn't know what he was doing. He was hitting the defense of just straight arms, don't punch me, you know what I mean? No hip escapes, no pivoting to the side, no, you know what I mean? No nothing in terms of Darren Till's defensive jiu-jitsu. But yeah, it's you know, there's very few fighters in the UFC that get by just on striking alone. I think Israel Adesanya is probably the only UFC champion for a very long time that's gotten by with just striking, with nothing else. He doesn't participate in any form of grappling. It's interesting to see how he was a mainstay striker who learned a bit of the takedown defense, and if we can stay standing, Adesanya is going to smash you around. So, he got very lucky in that the only pure wrestler I'd say in that middleweight division is Yoel Romero, and he's about 57 and still a Ninja Turtle. So, he caught that quite lucky. But I mean, all these other oaks, if you don't have the wrestling and the person you fight has the wrestling or the jiu-jitsu, you're going to be in trouble, as we saw here. Just how, it doesn't matter if you're a dynamo on the feet, because you're not a dynamo off your back getting smashed. You know what I mean? So that's tough. I mean, I don't see Derrick Branson moving up too high in the middleweight division. Darren Till came in at middleweight. I don't want to say looking soft, because I mean, I'm the epitome of the soft body. But yeah, I mean, it didn't look like he had those, he didn't have those rock hard chiseled muscles just ready to fight, which is what you should have when you're moving up in weight. You should look bigger. You shouldn't look a bit puffier. You know what I mean? So I don't know. Darren Till, he's one of those that would benefit from, a weight class between middleweight and welterweight, because I mean, that is a 15-pound discrepancy. So that is quite a lot on fight night. But it'll be interesting to see where Darren Till's career goes from here. Derrick Branson, I think he's still just that gatekeeper in the middleweight division. If you can't beat him, you're not top of the pile. But if you can beat him, you'll have a decent career, because quite a few people have beat Derrick Branson. But I mean, 23-7. He's only lost 7 fights. Good fighter, but overall, good fight card. It'll be interesting to see. I think next weekend or the weekend after, there's some big fights on. So yeah, thoroughly enjoy my UFC. Okay, the final piece of action that took place over the weekend that we will be recapping will be the Dutch Grand Prix at CM.com Circuit Zandvoort. This is the first race at Zandvoort since the 60s, 70s. It's been a very long time since they raced at Zandvoort. I mean, if you only watched Friday and Saturday, so the practices and the qualifying, you'd be like, what the hell, this track's amazing. Why don't we race here more? Because, I mean, the undulations, Jimmy the Thesaurus, the undulations and the you know what I mean, the way the track banks and dips and climbs, and I mean, just absolutely gorgeous from the onboards. I mean, it looks like a hell of a track to drive. Looks incredibly nice. You know what I mean? The way it's got so many flat out fast corners. You know what I mean? You really are hooking up each corner, flying around. But the problem is on Sunday, it's quite a narrow track, and these cars don't do very well following each other too closely due to the aero. Such good aero front and back of the previous car means it distorts the air very badly. If you're following the person very close, because the air is being distorted, you don't have as much downforce grip. You know what I mean? Your tires start to overheat, your brakes start to overheat following the person right behind. So that's why these Formula 1 cars are not very good at following each other right behind each other, which I mean did add for a bit of a boring Zandvoort race. But I mean, Max Verstappen, can't take anything away from him. Absolutely brilliant race. Where did Sainz finish? P8. So I mean, I'm pretty sure he started from the back of the grid, finished P8. So I mean, quite a lot of overtakes there. I mean, Gasly in P4. Very, very impressive drive from Pierre Gasly. I mean, Valtteri Bottas, he just needs to be kicked out of Mercedes. I don't mean that in a mean way. He's done amazingly as a number 2 driver, but can they get another number 1? I mean, I know you can never have 2 number 1s, because that's just not how racing works. but they need to get someone in because Valtteri's just not pushing hard. He's not linking it up. He's had a terrible season this season, just being the number 2 man. I think he knows his career at Mercedes is over. But yeah, the next weekend we go to the Italian Grand Prix. Is that Imola? Oh, it's Monza. Jeez. Monza's a nice track, so that'll be cool. I mean, I'm pretty sure the standings are. Okay, well let's do this live, chat. We'll do this live. No editing here. F1 standings. Ooh. Max Verstappen overtook the lead from Lewis Hamilton, and then they've got the 0.5 points because of the half points that were awarded for the Belgium Grand Prix. I still can't believe they gave people points for that. I mean, there was literally, they did 2 laps behind the safety car in qualifying order, and then that you got points for that. It's a bit lit. But yeah, I mean, Lando Norris over there in 4th. That's very impressive from big old Lando. Does every driver have points? No. Mick Schumacher, Mazepin. I mean, there's no surprises Mazepin has no points. And then Robert Kubica. I mean, he's only there because he raced yesterday because someone had COVID, someone was injured, I'm so used to saying injured from football. But yeah, it'll be very interesting to see how the rest of the Formula One season plays out. I mean, this is the closest battle we've had for the lead in a very long time, with it not being Mercedes. You know, I think the closest previous one was Rosberg Hamilton, but they were both Mercedes. You know what I mean? Here we've got another car, both 10 podiums, but 7 wins for Max. So I mean, it'll be very interesting to see how the rest of this Formula One season goes out with regards to where people are going to finish. Is Max going to be an F1 world champion? Let me know down in the comments. Okay, so that concludes the weekend recap. Probably be a bit longer because I went through all the international fixtures, but I was like, may as well, you know what I mean? May as well touch on all the international football while there's no Premier League. The fighting was good. As always, if you have any comments, if there's anything I missed that you would like me to react to in the next one, make sure to leave it down in the comment section, and I will get to it in the next one. But as always, a thumbs up if you enjoyed, a thumbs down if you didn't, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace. Okay, bye.